My friend, many people don't think about this as being a part of the actual learning how to play guitar, but teaching is a very valid part of learning. In fact, I found out that I don't know anything when I started teaching many moons ago. Through the course of events, I've taken courses. I've always had a teacher of some sort. I educate myself online because everything you can do on Google for other things, like looking up stats of sports teams and blah, blah, blah. You can also look up what a harmonic minor mode is. So all that resource is out there. The idea is start small with baby steps. Start adding things that you've done musically, so to the point where you can't even count on your fingers and toes how many things you've done to further yourself musically. That should consist of, at least for guitar, majors and minors. So if you know how to play E major, you should know how to play E minor. Knowing that there's a diminish in each chord makes us think we should really know what all of our E diminished chords are as well. And when we play our E diminished, why not learn different forms of that? The 7, full diminish, half diminish. It really makes sense to know what a triad is, a 1, 3, 5, be able to explain flattening the median, and then being able to explain what the median is out of a 7-note diatonic scale. When we have the Western ear, there are notes that are in between. We naturally have half steps in here between the 3 and the 4, meaning if we play 12 notes, we have all minor seconds or half steps. These vocabulary words and terms are things that you should know on your instrument as being a fret 1 to fret 2 as being a minor second or a half step. When we combine these two notes and we add the next two notes, which in and of themselves from F sharp to G is itself a minor second or a half step or a semitone. When we have a semitone plus a semitone, we get a tone or a whole step. After that whole step, we have a minor third. A minor third is a combination of 1, 2, 3 minor seconds, which means our extension finger, by playing a spider exercise or just a finger exercise, should encompass the major third. When we go up to the next quadrant, 5, 6, 7, 8, if we go down a half step, we get that same note we played plus our 5, 6, 7, 8, and then an extension finger. Going from the 1, if we had these notes, we would have notes that move from minor second, minor third, major third. From here to here, we would have an augmented note, but we call this the perfect fourth. Meaning, when we go up here, we have our perfect fourth. In the key of F, it's B flat. So you would always know where the B flat is on every single string, and then be able to replicate that and show how chords of a B flat meet chords of a B flat, chords of a B flat with an inversion, and then move on to showing students what all these different chords are. D major, D augmented, D minor, D diminished, and then we could have diminished fulls, we could have diminished. A lot of these chords, they're not too terribly hard, but they rely on our first 4. Having the vocabulary to be able to talk about tempo of like 1, 2, 3, 4, playing a quarter note or a downstroke on the 1 beat, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and playing a down note and an up note to exhibit 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. When we move on from anything from an eighth note, it's called 16th, 32nd, 64th. They always go up by adding its sum. So if we played 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a, we would be having 2 eighth notes that fit together, one exhibiting 1 and the other one exhibiting E up. So you can tell that to a student, say, if you wanted to play a pattern that had 1 E and up, because there's 4 beats in 4/4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, half notes, quarters, eighth notes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 16th notes, and a 2 E and a 3, 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 and 4 and 32nd notes. And I'm not going to play 64th notes because it just feels like ostinato picking, going as fast as you can, raking up and down. So in the first 4 minutes, 420, there was a lot of vocabulary. We talked about triads, which are chords. These are called tertiary harmonies because when you have stable foundations of chords, they resonate with each other. Every instrument. So when I play a C major, 6 strings, 3 notes. Sometimes they're doubled, sometimes they're single, sometimes you have triple notes, but you're always going to get that 1, 3, 5. Whenever you add another note, you can still have inversions. Like a D major, when we put an F sharp on the bass, is a D major still, but it's called an inversion. First inversion. The idea is being able to know what a first inversion is, and then knowing what a second inversion is, and then dare I say you've got a dominant chord that involves a dominant in there. You could even call third inversions where you've got like a D major with that C in the bass. When you do that, you betcha, third inversion. So having the wherewithal to know where you are in music, know your place, and then accordingly teach that. If you're teaching brand new students, you don't want to teach them bad mechanisms, so you want to make sure that the mechanisms that you've already established, how to practice, what things are called, what they are in relativity to this instrument, and maybe how they sound on a piano, how they sound with your voice. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. When you know what notes you're playing and singing in tandem, not all of us are singers. Here I flaked out at the end. But having a basic understanding of how these things work together. The idea is at a certain point, here's where the diatribe gets a little bit into it, but if you know these words and concepts, you'll be fine teaching. Don't be scared. Charge an appropriate amount so you're not undercutting the value of other teachers, but stay in your lane. Don't try and teach, negative harmony and tonal theory and what enharmonic equivalences is and how to write Baroque style music and counterpoint if you don't know what any of that is. The idea is you should know what guitar chords are if you're teaching guitar. You should also maybe play one or two other instruments so you could talk to them about it, but it's not necessary. You should at least know what the circle fifths is. You should be able to say there are no sharps and flats in the C. C major, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor, B diminished, and then C. You should also be able to do that. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Not just down here, but being able to go like C major, D minor, E minor, F major, G major. Play all of your chords everywhere. Also, know the right fingerings for finger scales so you're not giving somebody the wrong impression about what guitar is, or any instrument for that matter. But this is geared towards intermediate electric guitar. What is the crux of this whole biscuit? When you start teaching music, it opens up your ideas about what music is and how you want to articulate that. And I don't know if there's any better way to talk about what music truly is. Music truly is, to me, is a way to articulate myself, which doesn't necessarily need a chosen vernacular like English or German or Spanish or Portuguese. Doesn't matter what I'm trying to say. I'm not writing a poem. I'm not writing a novel or a story. Songwriting is that. That's when you put words and associate. But music writing takes emotion. It takes what you are, what you're feeling, what you observe, and it allows you, or at least it allows me, not to speak in the proverbial sense, it allows me to step outside of who I think of is my id, my character, and it opens me up to be able to do things differently. So if I'm having a day which is feeling kind of like playing this and feeling this is kind of how I feel today and being able to put this into something that is constructive and then write like a melody line. Hey! Being able to express myself through 7 chords, which have 3 notes that make them stable foundations to themselves, allows me to kind of give away a little bit of myself and then gain a little bit at the same time. And what does that mean? Anytime you sit down for a composition or writing and you're using just basic music theory and you know how to articulate that to somebody, you're also helping them in their journey. That's why I suggest people should always try to teach once they know a little something. You don't have to know a plethora of things, and all the levels at which we learn and teach at are always in flux. Meaning, I have many guitar students. Many of my guitar students have surpassed me, meaning they're able to do miraculous things. But a few of them started off not knowing what chords were or how to make shapes, would play their D major like this and wouldn't understand why they weren't able to make like this minor shape above. They never practiced the time to see the difference between the two and relied on one structure, to play a certain chord. The idea is there is a multitude of ways to play this instrument. It doesn't have to be traditional. I mean, take all the greats. Most of them died before 27, played the instrument upside down, didn't have a full set of strings on there, weren't in tune, and wrote some of the most creative music of the time. So I urge you, start teaching, stay in your lane, know a little vocabulary, and support people who do teach it like myself. Check out the channel, subscribe, put a thumbs up if you dig what you see here, and if you have any comments, put them in the comment section. I'd love to see them. Aloha.